I, 18/F, am conflicted about my accidental love triangle with a priest. I'd like to start by apologizing for the long post. I've tried to make it shorter, but this is the important information. I, 18F, was dating my ex we'll call Steve, 24M, for the purpose of this post. Steve and I matched on a dating app. He's Catholic, which will be important later, and I've been looking heavily into the Catholic faith for a very long time. We bonded over that. We met in person and hung out and agreed to start dating then. He confessed to me that he thought it was the duty of every Catholic man to discern whether they had a calling to become a priest, whether they thought that did or didn't. He said it would make him a better father in the future if he didn't have a call, so I shouldn't be worried. I knew this going into the relationship, so I agreed and didn't think much of it. Our relationship was perfect, and we both fell in love very fast. I've been in abusive relationships before, so I take a bit to warm up to physical affection of any kind, but I felt very comfortable with him. We had a very intimate moment, and before it progressed I stopped and asked to make sure he was locked in because I didn't want to be used for my body again, and that I wanted the next person I sleep with to be my last. He said he was, and so we slept together. Again, everything in this relationship was perfect. Every once in a while throughout our relationship I'd check in and ask where he was in terms of discerning his possible calling. He kind of just said I'm not sure, but would say certain things that made me think he had a stronger pulling to the priesthood. If you don't know, Catholic priests cannot marry and take an oath to chastity and to remain single because they are considered married to the church. But we would have sex, and he would say that as long as he had me he was okay, and that I shouldn't worry about the priesthood. One day I was supposed to spend the night at his house, and so we slept together, and afterwards I asked him again where he was in terms of his calling. He confessed that he hasn't felt this far from God in a long time, and that he feels indifferent about everything right now. He felt indifferent about the priesthood, marriage, our relationship, and sleeping with me. I, like a reasonable person, started crying, having just been told the man I loved most in the world felt indifferent about our relationship and sleeping with me immediately after we had sex. We talked for a while and decided to take all things romantic off the table while he figures his calling out. We didn't see each other for 4 days, and then he broke up with me. He shared that he wasn't sure how long it was going to take for him to figure it out, but he didn't feel like it was fair to keep me waiting and holding me back from getting what I deserved from someone else. I said I was fine waiting because he was worth it, but he said it wasn't fair to me, and so we broke up. I found out a couple days after that Steve had blocked me when I tried to send an apology message for handling the breakup poorly. That was the one thing I asked him not to do when we broke up. This was just around New Year's. Race where the love triangle happens. After Steve and I broke up, a friend we'll call Danny, 19M, showed up. He started texting me a lot more after my breakup. I wasn't really looking to date anyone, but he said he was fine just being my friend, so I continued to talk to him. We've hung out a lot, and he shared that he's caught feeling, and I think I have as well. We aren't dating, and we've both clarified that. He knows what happened between me and Steve, and it's full. Danny and I were hanging out and watching a movie when Steve randomly FaceTimed me. No message beforehand or anything. Even thought Danny and I aren't dating, I felt like I should keep him in the loop of everything and share that Steve was calling me. I texted Steve and asked why he was calling me. He shared that he was praying, and I crossed his mind and wanted to know how I was doing. Steve texted me and said he missed me, then edited the message to say that he missed my back rubs. He then proceeded to ask me if I could come over and rub out his back muscles because he can't breathe too hard without screaming. I originally said no because I was with Danny and wanted to prioritize him. Danny was okay with me calling Steve, but wanted to be kept in the loop. I agreed. We left and I went to call Steve when he said his back was a 25 out of 10 on the pain scale. I said I would come over to give him a back massage and to talk about the breakup, but nothing else. I went over to Steve's house and helped with his back, and we talked. He clarified a lot of things that had bothered me, and he apologized. I left shortly after and called Danny once I was back in my apartment. Now I realized this was dumb on my part, and I regret it. But I didn't tell Danny that I went over there. Nothing happened. We genuinely just talked, and I gave him a back massage because he was in pain. This is something I do to my greatest enemy because I don't like people being in pain, and if I can do something to help them, I will. I shared to Danny everything that was said, and he was fine with it. He was just glad I was able to get closure about everything because he knew how bad that breakup messed me up. Me and Danny aren't dating. He's a great guy, and I really enjoy his company. We haven't kissed or anything. We've held hands and cuddled, but nothing more. I don't want Danny to be worried about Steve because I don't want to pursue Steve when he's not sure about me, but my heart wants to hold out and wait for him. But my mind is telling me that Danny is great in his own way and that I'll be happy with him all the same. I've been praying about it, but I'm really not sure about what to do. Do I cut things off with Danny before they've even started because I'm still hung up about Steve and wait for him to make his decision with the slim chance that he'll pick me? Or do I just forget about Steve altogether and try things with Danny? TLDR. My ex broke up with me because he might have a calling to the priesthood and doesn't want to keep me waiting while he figures things out. He said it'll be me, though, if he picks marriage over becoming a priest. Meanwhile, I'm seeing someone casually but can't decide if I should wait for my ex to make his decision or just forget about him and start perusing this new guy. What do I do?